Come on over, come on over, come on over. I have a very important topic to discuss with you. How do you dropship via Spocket? And this is a guide to making millions selling through Spocket. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you already ask me. If you are doing as superb as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka, and let's roll. In today's convo, I want to give you a step-by-step on how to dropship successfully via Spocket. And basically, one thing I want to see here is that just kind of give you an overview of Spocket. Spocket allows you to discover top dropshipping suppliers of original US and EU products, okay? And this is kind of cool because a lot of folks, when they think about dropshipping, they automatically think about, oh, I'm going to buy from China, I'm going to buy from Nigeria, I'm going to buy from South Africa, I'm going to buy from Brazil, I'm going to buy from any place except the United States, Canada, or the European Union. And Spocket kind of helps you sort of rebalance that analytical strategy. In other words, you're able through Spocket to find original US and EU products, and you can find the winning dropshipping products. You can try the products yourself. This is very cool, right? You can actually connect your online store with ease. So when we think about Spocket, Spocket is an independent player, quote unquote independent player, because when you think about Modellist is owned by Wix Ecommerce. When you think about Overload is owned by Shopify, right? So Spocket is kind of the independent player here, and they allow you to actually connect your online store with ease to a lot of other players, including Shopify, BigCommerce, Wix, and WooCommerce. Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty here, what is dropshipping? What is really dropshipping? Dropshipping is very simple. You just the customer purchases products from your online store. Their order goes directly to your suppliers. Okay, your suppliers ship the products to your customer, and you keep the profit from the retail price. Simple as that. So you can 10x your dropshipping business with Spocket, for example, because you have no upfront cost. Think about it. Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful, right? I want to hear you say it. That's beautiful. You have branded invoicing also. You're able to rely on top quality US and EU products. You have the best deal on products, okay? And the cool thing about Spocket is that you also have great integrations. Integrations are very important. They are quintessential in the world of e-commerce, because if your goal is to scale your business, like you might start selling and start making a couple of hundreds of dollars, a couple of thousands of dollars here. But when it comes time to scaling your operation and playing in the big league, if you don't have the right integrations, you will be stuck. This is why platforms such as Spocket is kind of cool, because they have great integrations. For example, BigCommerce, Shopify, Felix, Wix, Equate, Squarespace, WooCommerce, Squarespace, Square, Alibaba, and AliScripper. So now that I gave you the analytical foundation of today's conversation, let's talk about the step-by-step. The first thing you need to do if you want to dropship via Spocket is to register. Okay, so you can see on the screen, I'm going to walk you through all the steps that you need to do. So first thing, you need to put your name, email. Remember, you can connect to Spocket via Facebook or Google. That's possible. Once you put your name and email, you're in. You can access your dashboard. Okay, so one thing you want to do is once you're in, you want to familiarize yourself with the dashboard. It's a great dashboard, very user-friendly, very powerful in terms of sourcing the right products, in terms of finding the reliable suppliers that you need to grow your business. Okay, so for example, you have the import list. You have my products. This is where you actually have the catalog of products you have already ordered, or and then you see my orders. So my products is just the products you're interested in, but my orders is the catalog of orders you have already placed. Remember that you can synchronize orders also. On the dashboard, you can also see apps, And we love the fact that with Spocket, they have a very responsive help center. So you can contact the help center. You can actually get help, and they have a community that you can actually reach out to. So first one is to get help, and then you can join the community. Okay, they have actually a community on Facebook that allows you to. So if you don't find your answers on the Spocket platform, you can post a question in the community, and a very responsive, fantastic community on Facebook. Next, you see your shop, my shop. Here, you can actually connect your shop to all the other e-commerce platforms I spoke about, the marketplaces: Shopify, Wix, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Squarespace, Ecwid, Felix, and Square. And you can actually also see your settings on the Spocket dashboard, right? So here you have your planes, then you have your account. In your account, you can actually have things like your account information. This is where you have all your email details and your current active membership plan. You also have your payment information. So this is the payment method for membership and order billing. You can also update your password, right? Then you have membership. You also have in your settings the store. And a very interesting very interesting feature that we love is the global pricing in terms of scaling your business. And then language selection. This is English by default. So, but you can change it based on your preference. Okay. So I'm just showing you the lay of the land of the Spocket land, so you have a better idea of what it takes to dropship via Spocket. Step number 2. So once you register, it's important now to find products, right? This is what we got to do. You got to really start finding products. So on the Spocket dashboard, on the Spocket account, the homepage, if you will, you have filters. Okay, so you can filter your products by many criteria. You also have shipping, so you can filter by shipping, for example, by the item cost, by the supplier also. So you can choose top supplier, advanced. You can go into the advanced search and choose the premium products, bestseller, and so on and so forth. So once you do that, you need to click on view results. And you can click on also on categories directly on the homepage. So instead of going through the filter, you can click on categories directly. I'm showing you, for example, you have categories as diverse as jewelry and watches, footwear, home and garden, tech accessories, etc. And we love the sort feature on Spocket. You can sort by relevance, price, low, high, and high, low, newest, shipping time. For example, you can filter by ship from, premium, fast USA shipping under $5, inventory, and so on and so forth. You want to hover over each product and click on add to import list. You can see on the screen right now. So when a product is added, it shows a check mark and the product is surrounded in green. Okay, so for example, you can see this on the screen on the black man's short, you can see on screen the green add to import list button. Okay, so when trying to add to import list, Spocket will want you to try the product for 14 days. So they're trying to sell you into the free trial, the 14-day free trial. This is just the way it is. Okay, so when you are thinking about choosing dropshipping products, please think about products that are colorful, that are eye-catching, that are popular, that are fun items. Okay, products that are also useful, very important. And you constantly want to, what we love with Spocket is that they have already vetted the suppliers. They have high quality suppliers on the platform, and you can trust the reliability and the reputation of the suppliers on the platform. Having said that, you still need to do your own research, trying to stick to a niche, very important. You can think about high ticket versus low ticket items. Again, it depends on your niche. It depends on what the market is willing to bear, right? And besides Spocket, you can use other tools, software, and websites for drop shipping. For example, you have a niche scraper. This is a great tool to find products and to do some research, competitive research. You can use a free product, Google Trends, a free service, Google Trends, that allows you to actually search the latest trending products or search topics. You can use Triple Camel. So Camel, Camel, Camel. This is a tracking website that alerts you to price drops for millions of products listed on the site. It usually works with Amazon, but lately they have been integrating everything with other platforms. And you can also use DS Comparison. And that's another site that allows you to compare dropshipping software in order to decide which tools are better for you. Step number 3, folks. You want to source smartly. So, of course, you have already the Spocket is a fantastic tool. The tool itself is great, but the user, you need to have the right strategy to actually use the tool properly, right? It's all about having a smart foundation. So how do you actually source smartly via Spocket? First of all, you have to find popular products. Again, a lot of folks, when you talk about popular products, they're thinking about, well, that means the more popular the products, the more competitive it is. Yeah, but guess what? That's what people are searching for. So even if you grab 0.5% of the market, that's still good. It's better than trying to have a product that is not popular, but then is highly priced. In other words, you have a product whose profit margin is high, but nobody's searching for it. That's just kind of it's not a right strategy. So you want to find products that sell, dropshipping products that sell. So when you go on the Spocket, make sure you're looking for popular products. You're also trying to find not so popular products with a laser focused niche. So what you want to do is you want to have a dual strategy. Okay, so in the short term, you want to find popular products so you can cash in a little bit and have some kind of cash cow strategy, right? So you want to have some ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching coming in, some moolah, some cash. That cash will sustain your medium-term operation. Okay, so in the short term, you do popular products, and in the medium term, in other words, 1 year from now, you focus on a non-popular product, a niche product, because those products have less competition and they pay more. But you got to have cash in the short term to survive in the long run. Okay, and trying to find, and speaking about pricing, make sure you price your items correctly. All right, and again, this has to depend on your niche. It has to depend on your product category and how much the market is willing to bear. At the end of the day, it's not about generating as huge profit as possible. It's about sustainability. And when we talk about supplier reputation, that's kind of important also on Spocket. Luckily for you, on platforms as diverse as Oberlo, Modellist, and Spocket, you have suppliers that are reliable. In other words, the vetting process has been done already. You don't have to do anything. Okay, so this is important. And when it comes to sourcing smartly via Spocket, please use your personal experience. I'm talking here about your product knowledge. This is very important. What do you know? What is your expertise? What is your forte? Right? So it's a lot better for you to sell a product you have experience with than trying to buy a product you have no knowledge about. Okay, and you want to implement storytelling. You want to have the right marketing strategy when it comes to using Spocket for your drop shipping. You want to package the products properly, because when you source products from Spocket, they just drop in. They are giving you the pre-vetted suppliers, but it's up to you to actually use things like description, price, all that kind of stuff. In other words, you have to customize the description and the storytelling around the products you've chosen. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you about how to dropship via Spocket. So in today's call, I've already explained to you how to register, how to find products, how to source smartly. Now let's talk about money, right? Let's talk about setting budgets. Obviously, if you want to have a long-term career in dropshipping, you need to think about the cash. Very important. Budget, revenue, expenses, revenue. So when we talk about using Spocket to dropship, you have to think about a couple of things. So the fundamentals, let's say hypothetically for this example, let's say you want to dropship via Spocket onto Shopify. So you have to think about the fundamentals, for example. So you have the Shopify store will cost you at a minimum $29 a month. You have Spocket, which will cost you $24, and the domain name will cost you about $14. So basically, right off the bat, you have to think about $70 already. Okay, so this is something you have to think about, and then you have to think about sampling. Sampling is also important. Sampling can cost you about $100 or $200 depending on the products you're trying to sell. And then you have to think about what we call the ancillary tools. So you have the pop-ups and the pricing apps. So especially if you want to do bulk pricing, you need an app. And these apps usually cost about $7 to $8, sometimes $10. So when you add everything, for the fundamentals, you have about $70, about, give or take. Sampling, you have $100, and for the sampling, you have $100. Of course, the marketing, you have about $100. So when you think about everything, you're probably thinking about $300, give or take. Okay, and you gotta have that cash, because again, Spocket, the tool is already fantastic. It's doing a great job, but you, the user who's going to use it, what about tautology here? But you, the user, need to think about how to implement Spocket for your own benefit, how to customize it for your operation. So you need to sample products, for example. You need to make sure that the products you are actually sending to your customers are quality. You have to think about marketing. You have to think about the customer journey, things like exit intent pop-ups, right? You want to think about bulk pricing. And one thing also you want to think about here is that your overhead. Do not forget that. So the bottom line here is what, folks? When we talk about budgeting, and if we use the hypothetical example of Shopify as your store, as the store you're drop shipping to, it will cost you an online store setup $29. You can choose a BigCommerce, a Wix, Ecommerce. You can choose another platform. The prices are kind of similar. Okay, so you have Spocket subscription, $24. You have the custom domain from $14 a year. You have marketing cost, average $100 to $200, sometimes $250, and you have some additional apps. Some apps are free while others charge a fee. So for you you need to think about those. Step number 5, folks, you need to connect your store. As I said at the beginning of this show, Spocket is an independent player, unlike Oberlo, which is owned by Shopify, and Modulus, which is owned by Wix Ecommerce. Spocket is an independent player, so you can actually connect Spocket to your store on multiple platforms. Okay, so for illustrative purposes, let's take the example of a Shopify. So to activate the integration with your Shopify store, you need to install the Spocket for Suppliers app to your Shopify store. So you have to log into your Shopify account. You need to go to the Shopify app store, right? This is where you have all the apps, and you need to search Spocket for Suppliers. Okay, so once you find that, you need to click Add App. You need to click Install. And finally, you'll be required to complete the supplier application form if you're not already on there. Okay, so remember that if you are already a Spocket supplier and are looking to activate the Shopify integration, you can actually just contact the Spocket team. Now, remember that the process is similar, as I just said. It's similar for other online marketplaces. If you need to connect your store to other online marketplaces, it's the same thing. For example, BigCommerce. You have to go to BigCommerce apps.spocket, not /Spocket, and there you have all. You can actually add Spocket there. For WooCommerce, same thing. The process is analogous. So you go to Spocket.co for WooCommerce. Okay, there are things that you have to understand. Certain things will be automatically synchronized once you connect your store to Spocket, or you connect Spocket to your store rather. Okay, so you have things like product listings, inventory, automatic import of new products, orders. So those will be automatically synchronized. Nothing to do there. And what are the things that will not be automatically synchronized? Because Spocket is great, but they're still constantly improving. So subsequent changes to product descriptions in Shopify will not be synchronized. Subsequent changes to product images in Shopify also will not be synchronized. So but those are minimal stuff, but it could be a big thing for some people. But so it's really good to know, okay? And so what if you want certain things to not be synchronized with the Shopify store? Now you can turn off auto sync, which will effectively stop syncing everything. So things like product titles, prices, etc. And this will stop everything except inventory, orders, and tracking numbers. Step number 6, folks. I want to talk to you about growing your dropshipping. So it's important when you're dropshipping via Spocket, and you're you're using Spocket to dropship on platforms as diverse as WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Wix e-commerce, and Shopify. You need to have a strategy to grow and scale your dropshipping. Whether you want to have an omni-channel strategy or a multi-channel dropshipping strategy, you basically need to have the right plan. And this plan is not just for the short term. I was just talking to you earlier about having a plan for the short term when you go after popular products, and you have another plan for the long term when you go after niche products. At the end of the day, if you want to grow your dropshipping products, your dropshipping business, you need to have a trifecta. You need to have a triple strategy. One for the short term, the medium term, and the long term. Okay, for the short term, you want to go after those popular products, as I talked about. For the medium term, you need to have a hybrid strategy. You have to go a little bit for products that are not that popular. They are a little bit popular, but also profitable. And for the long term, you need to definitely specialize. You need to select a niche. Okay, this trifecta is very important because it's going to help you capture a lot of the market share as your company grows. Okay, so when selecting a niche, please seek attractive profits. You want to make sure that you lower shipping costs, you keep them low as much as possible. Make sure your product appeals to impulse buyers who have disposable income, right? You don't want to appeal to customers that are impulse buyers but they have no disposable income. For example, teenagers, right? You want people who are actually working and they have some disposable income. Make sure that the products you're choosing are actively searched through on the internet. You can use Google Keyword Planner and Trains to check to kind of see that, and create whenever needed your own brand. And at the end of the day, you want to specialize. You want to offer a bespoke experience. Sell something that is not readily available locally. It's very important. This is what I was talking about earlier when I spoke about marketing, defining your value proposition, making sure that you are actually differentiating yourself from the competition. You are performing competitive research, and you're getting intel to know what your rivals are up to. Okay. Reliability in terms of suppliers is also very important in the long run. As you specialize, as you create your own brand, as you find a niche, you're going to have to rely on quality suppliers. And even if Spocket is already doing the pre-vetting, the pre-validation for you, you're going to have to go a little further to establish a relationship with your suppliers. Very important. And please don't forget that marketing is important, but providing excellent customer service is quintessential. This is how you're going to sustain yourself in the long run. This is how you're going to get repeat business. This is how you're going to get customer loyalty. This is how you're going to get positive reviews. And those reviews will create a domino effect that will actually snowball into a fat bottom line. Okay, folks, thank you so much. I just want to quickly recap today's conversation. So I spoke to you about the overview. I gave you an overview of dropshipping and what Spocket is all about. And then I gave you the step-by-step. So number 1, you need to register. Number 2, you need to find products. Number 3, you need to source smartly. Number 4, you need to set a budget. Number 5, you need to connect your store. And number 6, you need to grow your dropshipping. This is how you will be successfully dropshipping via Spocket. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.